had almost $1 million in cash in the closet. I had $998,000, and all 20s, hundreds, and tens in my closet, and shoe boxes of Jordan, right? And then I had AK-47 in my house. That it wasn't that I used it for protection, but it was kind of like it was gold plated, and it had my initials on the side of it. So I just used to have it upstairs just to have it, but it was a real gun. You could shoot it. I tell the guy everything. I'm like, yo, look, bro, I got the drugs there, I got the assault rifle, and I have money in the closet. I said, and all the shoe boxes all the way on the top. These guys, I remember that when I would go traveling, I would have Louis Vuitton, the set, the book bag, the duffel bag, the little thing with the wheels. These people, the Cuban cop and another cop, they went inside the house. They were in unmarked cars too. They go inside the house. I see them walking out with like 4 of my suitcases. Took all the money. They took the assault rifle. They took the drugs. And I remember, I'm like, damn, bro. I'm getting robbed by the police. But it is what it is. My whole family's there. I go and I told the cop, I said, I'm leaning against the thing, and I'm like, yo, what is this for? I said, I think you guys have the wrong person. As soon as they put all the stuff in the unmarked car, right? Like 15 minutes later, Miami-Dade shows up. Dade County Police, detectives, boom, boom, boom. The Cuban cop put everything in the trunk of that car. And I remember the guy left like a 50 of Coke in my bathroom when he just took 9 ounces of Coke out of my dresser. They charged me with that 50 of Coke too, by the way. That was one of my charges. When the guy puts everything in, literally like 10 to 15 minutes later, the Dade County Police show up.
Right.
The Cuban guy's partner gets in the car and drives off in the unmarked car with all the shit in the trunk. Right? So I'm leaning up against the thing, and I'm like, oh shit, I remember I have something else. And the guy was like, well, listen, I need you to give me your jewelry. Mind you, my jewelry I probably had now the number's probably $250, maybe $300,000 in jewelry and Cuban link chains. Bro, the guy took off all my chains. Took off all they were the ones that hang over. He took off all my chains and put them all in his pocket, took off my watch, my bracelet. I was like, yo, it was a bad day. But I feel that I kind of bought myself out of maybe a life sentence in prison.
Football player at Florida State University that had got in trouble for having consensual sex with a sorority girl. She came back to his room that night and they had sex. Well, the next morning she starts talking to her girlfriends and stuff, and they're like, they talk her into that she was raped. Mm-hmm. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to feel like a slut, so she wants to come to find out that he actually had his room, had surveillance in his room. And he was able to show the police. I mean, if you have videotape of two people, mm-hmm. you can tell if it's consensual or not.
Yeah.
You can tell whether it's forceful. You can tell by watching what's going on, what the atmosphere temperature of the room is. So this guy actually got off of being in trouble. He got charged with a misdemeanor for taping her unbeknownst to, but he was able to go to that.
It beats a rape charge.
So when the FSU cops came to him and put him in cuffs, he goes, hold on. He lawyered up. His attorney the next day brings over a disc or whatever and says, you watch that and you tell me at what point does she act like she doesn't enjoy it and it's not consensual. They let him out the next day.
Right.
I had a home surveillance system that captivated Hogan, my wife. She could tell that Terry was bummed out. She was hot as I mean, she really was. I mean, Hogan will always be like, God damn, your wife is just absolutely hot. And I'd be like, I know, she's hot as So and so me and Hogan were driving home from the dollhouse one day, and it was like a Friday night, and the kids happened to be gone with their respective other parents, and I was in my Jaguar and I was driving with Hogan, and I had her on speakerphone, and she was just like, do you want me to have something sexy on when you guys get home? And I'm like, yeah, have some sexy shit on, whatever. And we pull in, and Heather's got this little nightie on, and I literally just said, go and have fun. Go and have fun. And so I actually went into my office. A lot of people are like, oh, Bubba went into his office and watched it and jacked off. No, I actually, it's embarrassingly enough, but my kid was driving go-karts and quarter midgets at the time. He was 5 or 6. And I was on TRS Racing looking at titanium axles to buy for my son while Terry was in there blasting a girl. That's what I was really doing.
Right.
Like, so my
Terry's Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Right.
So that's how it happened. My vice was pussy. I mean, I would literally spend, like I would bitch, and then I figured I'd want to keep her around, so I'd go buy her a $1,400 Louis Vuitton bag, and then you got her hooked. I mean, at that point, she's coming. I had like 10 of those girls.
Right.
So, but I had this financial guy. He's like, listen, just take your gig money. Take your paycheck and you live on your paycheck.
Yeah, blow that, but at least invest this.
Take your $10,000 a month gig money and buy property. Buy property. And I remember if you know the Tampa area and you're driving down Memorial and you're headed to Pinellas, it turns into Racetrack Road, that whole area. Well, right after there's apartment complexes now there and a super Target. And I had a chance to buy that land in 93. It was 71 acres and it was just all field. It was a big field and maybe even some wetlands. And they wanted, I think, $660,000 for it. And my guy, Shay, his name's Shay Edelman, he said, listen, you got the money to put it down. You can finance it for 15 or 30 years, however long you want. And he said, you hold it for 5 years. He goes, I know for a fact that there's going to be a super Target put in here in the next decade. And he said, at that point, you will be an instant millionaire. Your $600,000 is going to be 6.6 million, And I was like, that ain't buying
and,
no.
And what did you spend the money on?
Horse.
Do you think that Ohtani is behind the bets?
Absolutely. At this point,
that's what you believe.
100%.
Okay.
Because how can an interpreter lose $1.3 million?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, you do understand what the going rate for an interpreter is, right?
And he's
Even
the highest
if we're best friends.
Yeah, he's the highest paid interpreter. It was like 200 and something thousand at the time.
Yeah.
That's, ginormous for an interpreter anyway. But to me, I'm like, he's paying. And anonymity is something I provided as a service. That's one reason why people like illegal bookmakers. And also, he's not showing any signs of distray. And I don't care if it's Shohei Ohtani betting. In fact, I prefer it.
All right.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like,
he's got deep pockets. And
he's just gambling. I mean, he's not betting on baseball. There's no bets on baseball. That's the illegal part. For him. My business is legal. But yes, for him, that's the big problem. So I'm like, you know what? Big deal. Fast forward. Now he owes me $7 million, $8 million. And he's sending me wires every 2 weeks for like $500,000. And I'm going to Vegas and I'm having a gay old time and enjoying my life. I was already making great money, but now it's even more. And to be honest, I see this as a valve that's never going to shut off. And you're feeding a dopamine rush that I love, and I'm just enjoying this. My business is even better than it's ever been, right? The wire transfer I just received for you is from Shohei Ohtani. Oh shit. That's a problem. Good thing, but a problem, right? I have these mutual feelings here. Good because I have one of the wealthiest players in the world who's just signed a $700 million contract. He's making more money in endorsements, can lose umpteen amount of millions and it won't affect him. Bad because we all know that it's the biggest player in the world and more eyes could be on this situation, and that's not good for me either. So, but I'm already balls deep. As I'm 1.3 million in, the guy's already, by the way, at this point, he moved his credit line to $1 million and has already almost tapped his whole credit line again. So he asked for more credit. Of course, I extend it. I'm greedy. I like money, and I'm providing a service. He doesn't seem to be having a problem with it, and I extend him more credit.
Do you think that Ohtani is behind the bets?
Absolutely. At this point,
that's what you believe.
100%.
Okay.
Because how can an interpreter lose $1.3 million?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, you do understand what the going rate for an interpreter is, right?
And he's
Even
the highest
if we're
paid.
best friends.
Yeah, he's the highest paid interpreter. It was like 200 and something thousand at the time.
Yeah.
That's ginormous for an interpreter anyway.